This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good evening, everybody. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:30 on February 15th, 2021. Get a roll call, please.
Trustee Bravo.
I'm here.
Trustee Blackstock.
Here.
Trustee Richley.
Here.
Trustee Knotts. Ralph has his microphone off. Good is here. Treasurer Hart.
Here.
What now?
Supervisor Ralph.
I get it working now, Mr. Wood? Good.
Yes, it is. It's on now.
How about the picture?
No.
I see a little picture in the corner that says webcam preview, and I can't get rid of it.
Roush is here also. All right, we'll skip the Pledge of Allegiance while we're virtual here. So we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? If not, a motion to accept the agenda would be in order.
I'll move we accept the agenda.
I'll support.
We have a motion, we have a support to accept the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes for February 2nd, 2021. They're in your packet. If there's no questions on the minutes, a motion to approve the minutes would be in order.
Treasurer Hart approves or motions to approve the minutes. Support.
We have a motion, we have support to approve the minutes for February 2nd. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion to approve the minutes carries. We have some gentlemen on the phone or on the call here. If you can see their faces, they're not so much guest speakers, but they will be during the new business. So we will we'll introduce them at that point. So moving into the consent agenda. Reading the wrong thing here. We have a piece of struggling here. Consent agenda is in your packet. Need the approval. So if there's no comments, motion to accept the consent agenda would be in order.
And Knots, I'll move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support, Trustee Richley.
We have a motion, we have a support to accept the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, disbursements. We have bills in the amount of $66,456.09. Accounts payable in the amount of $28,831.29. Payroll of $37,237.40. EFT in the amount of $8,726.91. E-checks for a total of $302.30. A tax account of $1,699,142.37 for a total of $1,840,696.36.
Treasurer Hart, motions to approve to pay bills in total amount of $1,840,696.36.
We have a motion, we have a support. Can we get a roll call, please, to pay the bills?
Trustee Blackstock,
Yes.
trustee Richley,
Yes.
trustee Knotts,
Yes.
clerk Good is yes. Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
trustee Babel,
Yes.
supervisor Roush,
Yes. All right, motion carries to pay the bills. We have no old business at this time, so we'll move right into new business. So new business number 1 in your packets is basically giving final payment out to the contractor that worked on Point Drive Force Main project. Blaine, as well as our engineers, approved this as well for final payment, so it's basically just getting the approval to pay the bill of $52,657.15.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bill in the amount of $52,657.15, including change order number 2.
Not support.
All right, we have a motion, we have a support to pay the final bill to DVM Utilities. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
trustee Richley,
Yes.
trustee Knotts,
Yes.
Good is yes. Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
Babel,
Yes.
trustee Blackstock,
Yes.
supervisor Roush,
Yes. All right, motion carries to pay DVM for that work. All right, moving on to new business number 2. Basically, what this is a engineering firm to fill out the paperwork so we can apply for a very low interest long-term loan, which I will let these fine gentlemen speak about here. So we have Anthony and John. So I don't know who wants to take the lead on this.
Yeah, if you could introduce yourself so that Clerk Good could put your names into the present.
I'm John Monty from Project Control Engineering.
project control engineering,
I'm Anthony Theodoro from Project Control Engineering.
last name again?
Theodoro?
I can get you the spellings for sure, Martin.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, Anthony or John, if one of you guys want to kind of run through this a little
So,
bit.
Anthony and John, I'm not sure if you have our agenda, but the first item on the agenda is actually the clean water application. The second one is the drinking water application.
Okay.
Go ahead, Anthony. Explain it to him.
So, I don't know if it is my sound good? Can you hear my voice well?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So the Clean Water State Revolving Fund is basically our sanitary sewer system loan program. The background of that program is that throughout the state, starting in 2013, communities were able to access a loan program, or I'm sorry, a grant program called the SAW grant. And the SAW grant went on up until 2019 or about 2019, and it basically ended. And they had gone through their entire list. It was a lottery, and what was left over, they announced will be rolled into what's called a green project reserve. So they'll look for projects, you'll apply for them, and if you can prove that your project meets the requirements of the Green Project Reserve, then there's loan forgiveness through the state revolving fund. So principal forgiveness. So this proposal that we've developed comes from our work in 2018. We did an asset management plan, a general asset management plan, not a detailed one that the SAW grant would produce, but one that at least identifies the needs of the system and prioritizes them based on what has happened, their age and their reliability, and then finally their consequences of failure. And so the result of that is that we identified some things that had immediate issues. I mean, issues related to flooding along the waterfront, and that's kind of what has come about with what you just finally you did your final payment on, which was Point Drive force main. That relieves some of our major risk related to flooding, but now we still have in our consequence of failure stations that service the district, the River District Hospital area, which are similar in age and also have reliability issues from the the DPW staff maintenance and having to reply to failure stations. So the 2018 report that we submitted provided an amount for those. There was a total of 4 stations, one of which you've pretty much completed, the Point Drive. There's just some work in the cabinet that needs to be completed. It's not very large, but then you have the hospital pump station, Bree pump station, and the Bell River pump station, which we're also hoping that we could potentially get a FEMA grant for. We applied for a grant on that. But if that doesn't happen, we would know that, and this is our second time applying for that FEMA grant. We will know that in this year, very shortly here. And so those stations need attention and require a certain amount of money. And so the best option that we found would be to apply for the loan through the state revolving fund, and at the same time apply for principal forgiveness using the Green Project Reserve. So there's an opportunity for us, because of the way the system is built, that we could show that we can save energy costs by doing this project, and thereby try to get some or all of the principal forgiven through the state. And all this would be through the application process, and the application process works by doing a draft project plan, a final project plan, which would be due in June. And then by July 1st, they would say your project's prioritized, and they would also give us an indication of if we succeeded in being selected as a green project to be awarded some principal forgiveness. So all that would happen basically between now and July, and then that goes into the fiscal year 21-22, which starts October 1st for the state and rolls into the fall of 2022. And so all that period of time would be preparing for the construction of that, to the implementation of that loan project. So in order to be even considered in that calendar window, we have to basically be making our submittals in April and finals in June. So that's the same for both the clean water, which is the sewer system, and the drinking water. They have the same deadlines, the same process, but each of them has their own different nature and history behind them. So that's the history behind the sewer proposal there. And the costs that we've done in our proposal, our engineering costs, are because of the substantial nature of the paperwork that's required to get, basically to be, it's like a pre-approval process. And so you get all your information together, you submit this project plan, and then it basically, that's the project, and you can improve your odds by maybe changing some of the nature of the project that you're proposing, and they'll guide you along that way. And so we'll have some opportunities between April and June to make our project presentable. And that's just because they only have a certain finite amount of money they can allocate every fiscal year. So I think that that pretty much does it. If I can go into more depth of what the sewer project is other than the pump stations, there is some work along Point Drive that has kind of been on hold, and it's a sanitary pipe work repair, failures in the sewer pipe that can be addressed within this project.
Yeah, that actually veered its head up for all of you. During the flooding here, Blaine took the opportunity with the water flowing to bring in an underground camera inspection company, and there's multiple spots in that system where it is failing.
Yep.
So yeah, to see that in this proposal, Blaine would be real happy about for sure.
Yep, and that's in this. Obviously the stations cost, pump station rehab costs the most money, but pipeline repair is included because you're dealing with a loan project, so there's just, you want to have at least a certain amount of money that you're going to go out and do this whole process for. And so it makes sense to group these in order to achieve your best principal rate and the best project cost. It just gets more expensive every year, so to do them.
And Anthony, you said that there was a reduced fees available. So if we were to approve new business 2 and 3 for the sewer and the water, there was an opportunity to save $7,200. Is that because of kind of paperwork that kind of goes in hand with each other?
Yeah, so you have some general stuff that's township specific, so it would apply to both systems. And then you have specific stuff for each system. So the 7,200 would be that overlap where that same amount of information would apply to both loan programs. And it pertains to the population of the township and the different statistics related to the township.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Anthony?
Yes, I do. Lots. You mentioned that you'll be turning something in April, and then there'll be a couple of revisions, one of which you mentioned in something due in June. I thought you said there was one other one eventually. Does the cost that you quoted here take care of all of those applications that will be necessary now and in the future?
Yeah, it would bring us all the way to July, where they would indicate that we've been prioritized. We've been basically pre-qualified. So that makes the loan that we can accept that loan, So we would come back to the board at that time and say that Eagle has approved our project plans, that we've been prioritized. And, that's when we would start the process of building the bid documents and everything, contract documents that would go out for bidders and things in 2022.
And that would be additional fee at that time.
Yeah, and that's built into the loan amount as well.
Okay. So there's also, you indicated that there is loan forgiveness involved, or at least you're asking for under the green project. How much of the loan can be forgiven?
Up 100% almost. They factor the components of your project plan that would touch on green energy or green reserve, and those that they would factor a percentage, and then they'd say, well, okay, that percentage of the loan can be forgiven. So that'll be based on how we present, and what we have for the sewer system. We have that opportunity, and what they're looking for there is we have our system is in series, so the stations are one after another, daisy chained together. Each one of them, as we reduce the amount of flow that's going there, due to, for example, Point Drive, by improving these pipeline problems, will reduce the amount of flow going in, and that way we can show that all those stations in that series will reduce their pumping, thereby reducing energy usage. So that's kind of the gist of what we go for.
If the loan would be granted, can the parts of the loan be used to pay for these fees to produce the plans and be included as part of the forgiveness?
Yeah, all engineering costs can be reimbursed. It's the loan will pay the township for those expenditures.
And that includes these preliminary engineering work that you have to do.
Yeah, the project plan work
The
is all,
project plans, okay.
that's all part of a conceptual engineering.
Okay, and you talked a lot about the pumping stations, but does this also include some of that bad sewer line along Point Drive?
Yes. So you have two locations in particular. You have around the bridge, north of the bridge there on the south side of Point Drive. That area, we did a geotechnical study there. We determined the cause of the failure in the pipe. And so we have a solution already kind of put together for what to do there. The other locations are, let's see, south of the canal on Point Drive. And basically, we also studied that area and made a comparison between trenchless repair solutions and, digging it up, open cut, and replacing it. So we already have some idea of what those things are cost and how we'd approach them. They just all kind of got prioritized based on how can react, give the DPW a reaction time.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
I can mention the water. I don't know if we're going to just sort of go right through them both, or
It might make sense to do an overview of the other half of it, and then we can maybe circle back and do a full presentation of each agenda item.
Sure. So the background of the water system need is in 2019, a reliability study was kicked off on the water system. And the results of that reliability study prioritized issues in the system. And one of the issues was there is a section of water main, and I included a map in the packet. And I don't know if you got a color copy or not, but
yes, it was
along M29 from basically from south to north, it would go from the intersection of Point Drive and M29, and it goes all the way up to Putty Gut intersection with M29, and that services also the River District Hospital. And so, of course, you're pumping. There's a pressure issue due to the size of the pipe, but more importantly, it's 65 years old, and so I believe that's right. Yeah, and so that is and it's an asbestos cement pipe, so that's a material that is if it were to be damaged or anything, it's extremely difficult to replace it. I mean, it has to be replaced. It would be extremely difficult to repair it. It's been prioritized high in terms of its consequence of failure and the ability for the DPW to address any issues there easily. I mean, they wouldn't be able to order any parts or anything for that antiquated material type. So that's why that was selected. Other areas of the system have about the same amount of monetary need, but they are easy to address. According to your maintenance staff, they're able to isolate those problems if they had them. And so really it's generated by the reaction time. Just as we've always been dealing with issues at the township, we want the ones where the reaction time would be bad to be addressed first and give them a chance to keep the system going. So that's where this section of water main has come from, is the reliability study. The other component of it was a project we were working on for 2 meter pits to meter the flow to China. And so we studied those locations back in September of 2020. And there are one's on St. Clair Highway and the other's on Recor Road. And they're actually old meter pits. They just basically need new meters in them. They need a rehab, and they'd be able to record the flows between the 2 townships, which allows the plant to see where they have any water loss issues. Because at the point when it leaves the plant now, they know how much they're producing versus how much they're selling, but they're not able to break that up to then try to say, well, we need to attack these areas first. So it's not a major cost project, but it's an important project. And so that would be kind of lumped in. And then I don't know if Dwayne has spoken at all about the authority has a small project as well with the intake at the plant. And because it's within the kind of the range of which we are going out for a loan, I mean, it's in the flexibility of the amount. We might be able to ask Eagle if they'll allow us to do one project plan for that as well as the two I just mentioned. That requires them to approve that, but I've seen them do that before. In sewer, I've seen them do that just recently, where they approved a cleaning project and they allowed us to do one project plan and include rehab. So there may be a way that we could have them include all that in one project plan, but that'd be up to them to decide, and we'd be willing to request that, because for the authority to go out alone, it's kind of lopsided the amount of work to apply for a second loan for them. And I don't know if that'll actually move forward, but Dwayne's project is an intake valve that would be at the intake of the plant that would allow them to close it off and properly control the sedimentation that happens in the filter system. And so that's super important for him in terms of the amount of times he's backwashing and the cost that it is incurring to clean that intake. Because right now you need divers and it's very complicated, versus if you were to shut off the intake with a valve, he would be able to vector it down and actually handle it himself. So that's basically the gist of all the water that we would try to have Eagle allow us to do one project plan for. And unfortunately, there's no such thing as the principal forgiveness program like the Green Project program. On the other hand, the township had a $10 million loan that they've just now paid off. So you have been paying payments on a loan that's twice as large as this, what we're looking to get for the township. So the money is built into the rates structure already, but you know, we've applied as much as we can. But there's a disadvantaged community worksheet that we got in on the deadline for the township. I don't know if the odds are very good for us. Township's doing too well, and so you know, I guess they don't prioritize that. But we'll see. They have not made a decision yet, so you know, we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe something will come in on that worksheet.
Anthony, I got a question for the infrastructure part of this. Is I know most hospitals have redundancy in the water or electricity. I know for sure on electricity, but on the water. So is this the only water main that's feeding this? So if that were to have a failure, we would basically be disrupting the hospital, the 75 year old system.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I am aware of, because of pressure, I don't know if someone could speak to that.
Blaine, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here, Cindy. This is Blaine.
All right.
Blaine, are you aware of any redundant system at the River District Hospital?
There is a secondary tie-in for the hospital, also Putty Gut, but as far as the valving for it, some of it is inoperable. But there is a degree of a backup there. But it also comes to the point where all of the backups are all fed off of the 1945 line. So somewhere down the line, if there's a problem, there's a good chance that our backups will fail as well.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I was just curious how big a trouble we would be in if this water main did have a big failure.
In the end, it's still the township supply, even if it's coming from a different loop. You know, you're still dealing with our water supply.
Right. Okay.
Hey, Blaine, this is Ralph Knotts. Isn't the hospital on a loop?
The hospital is on a loop. It is fed off of a tie-in at South Hospital Drive and M29, and that line goes behind Medi Lodge and ties into Putty Gut.
All right.
This is Treasurer Hart. Would this line also be supplying the new power plant? DTE two?
No. The new power plant is tied in off of the newer 12-inch ductile main that runs parallel to the old 10-inch asbestos cement main.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
My turn?
Yep.
You mentioned, Dwayne, just discussed with you, doing a valve on the intake line so that makes it easier for him to clean that out. And that it would be moderate cost. Is that cost already rolled into this number, or is that additional cost?
So I can answer that. So I had provided a separate proposal for the authority, which would be for his cost as a separate loan. So I know that it's high percentage of the loan. I mean, the loan was like 100,000 and the cost to do all that paperwork for him was like 19. So that's quite high in a percentage. I don't know, the decision hasn't really been made. I think the authority has to meet yet. But the opportunity is there to request that the loan that the township's going out for include that or encompass that. If that's approved by Eagle, then from the project plan standpoint, it would just be whatever we'd have to see if there would be any additional cost. It would be additional probably it definitely would be additional in like bid documents and things, but given the nature of the project, those amounts are not very large. So
Yeah, I understand the additional when you get around actual designing it and bidding it. I'm talking about adding it to this application.
yeah, right. I mean, again, it's a hypothetical. So you would have a definite cost savings. I mean, it would be back within under 10% of your loan amount, your total loan amount, you know?
Well, I'll talk to Dwayne about it. Thank you.
And again, I think at this point, the most important thing would be to express what you would like us to do for you. So if you'd like us to request that Eagle include that, then that would allow us to determine those components. Because I have a breakout always that I submit with the engineering fees. It says every item that we're handling. So I'd be able to pull that out or highlight that and say, you know, this is what is just plant related and not related to the distribution system. So that's all that would be needed, just an additional time.
Okay. You know, look, money comes out of the same pockets anyway. That we just have to get. I was just wondering. You were mentioning that it was a small job to add the intake valve to this plan that you're working on now, and
Yeah.
I was wondering how much to just work on this plan would be being charged to the Soil and Water Authority for the addition of the intake valve to the plant.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know if the board has gotten the packet for that proposal for the intake valve.
No.
But it was, so the project plan itself was the majority. I believe it was like 13,000 of the 19,000 was the project plan. And so, you know, the 6,000 or what have you, 60 some $100 would be specific to the project, right? So it would be, you know, to make drawings of it, to get estimations of it with contractors and those things. So those things would remain, right? Unique to that intake valve.
I guess that'll work. Right.
Okay, I guess I still have one question on that same note then. So if you start to prepare that, is there going to be another proposal that we're going to have to approve on top of these two proposals at the next meeting?
So it would, if Eagle allows the intake project to be added to it, then
Okay.
I would come back to the board and say, they've allowed it. Would you like us to include that? And then it would be this amount of money, which would be less than what I proposed when it was on its own, because it's now a joint project. And so then you guys can approve it or say, no, we want to finance it, ourselves or pay cash or what have you. And so, and really that project is of a size that if we were able to get, at that time, we could come back and say, well, would you like us to figure out what it would cost that, to have contractors give us some prices? Then that would also be able to decide if you want to include that in the loan or not. It's sort of a small project that shouldn't really hold up the bigger water main one, but there's an opportunity to maybe include it at that low interest rate.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, any other questions? If not, we'll circle back to new business 2. So that's still on the table here for approval for PCE to prepare the CWSRF loan application at a cost of $71,699, which would have a reduction of $7,200 if we approve new business 2 as well as new business 3.
Well, I find it kind of pricey to do it. What we're doing, we're going to be spending about $125,000 on a if come, but it does have possible payoff. I'm just unfamiliar with it. I don't know what our chances are. You're rolling the dice for 125 between the two projects. But what's our chances of, if our chances are 5%, I'm not so sure. Our chances 90%, yeah, that's another statement. So I don't know if you can address that or not. We're rolling 125 grand to prepare a plan. What's our chances of getting a return?
Right. So it's like if you were to go out for a loan at a bank. So there's the application process is good for this fiscal year, or if you were to take that package and resubmit it, then it's still good. So it doesn't expire in terms of that work that's done for the SRF loan program. In addition, there's a value to it that is probably 70 to 80% in common with other loan projects, other loan programs like rural development. They have different unique things related to them, but they're asking a lot of the same questions. So when you're putting this money together to prepare these projects for a loan, those projects would have needed that no matter when you did it. You would need to do that first step in order to get them financed. And the SRF loan program is the most common one to go to. So, most of our projects in the region here are SRF loans.
Are you telling me that once you put this together, if you don't get an award in the first go round, you can resubmit the same package without additional cost?
Well, with minimal cost, obviously, that you have to work with the coordinators. There'll be some time involved, but all the major research and documentation will be valid. So, and they're only not giving it to you because they don't have enough money. Mm-hmm. And so maybe they had an influx of requests, and so then they have to make the hard choices. But it's not because we're rolling the dice. It's more the fact that the state wouldn't have the money in.
They make a list and I draw a line at the end of the money. Yeah.
What's that now?
I said they make a list and draw a line at the end of the money.
That's right. That's right. So our job is to get you guys to the top, as high up in the list as possible.
Yep. Thank you. That's all I've got.
All right. So back to the action requested, which would be to vote on approving or not approving this request. So motion will be in order.
Okay, I'll make a motion. That's on item number 1, which is the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Application Proposal. That we approve the proposal from Project Control Engineering to prepare a CWSRF loan application in the amount of I'd have to do the math. It's 71,699 less 7,200 if we do number 2.
$64,499.
Blackstock support.
All right, we have a motion, we have support to approve new business 2. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we get a roll call, please.
Trustee Babel,
Yes.
trustee Blackstock,
Yes.
trustee Richley,
Yes.
trustee Knotts,
Yes.
treasurer Hart,
Yes.
Clerk Good, yes. Supervisor Rouse,
Yes. All right, new business number 2 is approved. Moving into new business 3 then, as Anthony very well explained it. So the action would be to approve the attached proposal to prepare the DW SRF loan application at a cost of $56,789.
Well, since I did the first one, I will, I'm sorry, go ahead. I hear somebody else.
I'll make that motion. So move.
Support.
All right, we have a motion, we have support. Any further discussion on new business 3?
hold on, Supervisor Rouse, who made the motion?
Herb Blackstock,
Blackstock made the motion?
seconded by
Yeah.
Knotts. Blackstock made the motion and Knotts, trustee Knotts seconded.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That being said, can we get a roll call, please?
Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
Clerk Good is yes. Trustee Knotts,
Yes.
trustee Richley,
Yes.
trustee Blackstock,
Yes.
trustee Babel,
Yes.
Supervisor Rouse,
Yes. All right, so new business 3 was approved, which moves us to finish up new business. So thank you guys very much for your detailed explanation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do too. I hope you are successful because whether you are or not, one of the reasons I'm voting for these projects is because whether you're successful or not, we still need to do every one of these ones that you've listed. So
Yep.
I wish you the best of luck and for us.
Thank you.
We'll do our best for you. Thank you.
All right, moving into announcements. I guess I'll start here. So as most of you or all of you should know, we had the town hall meeting Thursday. St. Clair County Emergency Manager Justin Wismiller kind of took the helm on it. It was probably as to be expected. We had some very unhappy residents with the flooding issues. Justin did a great job of explaining the facts and what we can control and what we can't control. But I don't know if anybody got a chance to watch it or join in on it, and any feedback from you guys.
Unfortunately, I was not able to attend, but I do have one question. Did he happen to explain why for over a week we watched ice flow, but it was a surprise when it dammed itself?
No, like I said, he stuck to the facts pretty good, and his facts were that the water levels were fine at 1 p.m. on whatever that date was, and that when they started to rise at 1 p.m., they had ships dispatched within 2 hours. So those were the facts that he stuck to pretty good.
Did he also explain what the max wind speed is before the Coast Guard cannot go out?
No, the Coast Guard gentleman got on the call also, and he explained some of it with the buoys being under the ice right now and not being able to see them. And, you know, obviously residents brought up with GPS and all that other stuff, but the Coast Guard basically said that they did the best they could with the situation. They did have some mechanical failures with the boat. They had some health issues on the boats, which, led to a lot of them coming and going. They stood by the fact that they did the best they could. So
Wait till spring.
yeah, Cindy, that's posted. I saw a link on the homepage, so actually go back and watch that if you're interested.
Yeah, there's a link, and it ran out throughout the weekend a few times a day. I'm not sure if they'll continue that, but it was on Saturday, Sunday, 3 times a day. But it's definitely on our website too.
Yes. Outside of that, does anybody else have any other announcements?
I'll just really quickly mention that Township Hall is not going to be staffed tomorrow due to the weather advisory. Typically, we have a couple staff people in and out. The most that they'll be able to do tomorrow is to get in and confirm that they can receive tax payments out of the drop boxes.
Cindy, can I ask a question? Mr. Ralph, how much longer are we going to be playing TV meetings?
All I know is through the 21st. I haven't had a chance to confirm any other dates that may have been extended for requiring in-person or non-in-person. I personally follow the guidance of MTA. So I check their advice daily, definitely, sometimes weekly if needed. But right now, everything is through the 21st. They are highly recommending that Board of Review be handled virtually, and I think the gears are in place to start that process as well.
Through the 21st, what do you say, is what the current rate is?
That's what I'm aware of. I did a quick check to see if there were any new updates. I haven't seen any today. I'll double check again tomorrow.
Thank you.
As of right now, your next meeting may possibly be in person until.
I got one tomorrow night on the same little screen, so no problem.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. That being said, let's move into member comments. We'll start with Clerk Good.
Nothing tonight.
Treasurer Hart.
Sorry, my button wasn't working. No, I have nothing.
Trustee Babel.
No, nothing tonight.
All right, Trustee Blackstock.
A couple of things. One question for Cindy. Due to office closures and such, is there a way that citizens can pay for permits online? If they were to submit documents for building permits, is there a way that they can pay remote? Or is it still something that has to be done in person?
It has to be check. Yeah, right now, I know that there's some things that we could pursue, and we've been looking at that. Right now, it still has to be drop a check in the Dropbox or make an appointment if you need to pay otherwise.
The only other thing is I'd like to thank our DPW for all the work they did during the flooding. Also, thank you PCE. As far as I know, the new force mains we put in worked wonderfully for 3 days straight. So thank you very much to DPW. I know they found a lot of new sinkholes and did a lot of sandbagging and dealt with a lot of phone calls, especially near me. So thank you to them and good job with your hard work. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Richley.
Just really quick, I should have probably set us under announcements, but I wanted to thank the supervisor and the township manager for that town hall meeting. I thought it went very well, and it allowed people to voice their concerns and opinions, and I thought it went well. That's all I got.
Thank you all. Trustee Knotts.
I have nothing further.
All right. Yeah, I got nothing as well. So except to piggyback off Herb and say thank you, Blaine, and to your team. So, all right. So a motion to close the meeting would be in order for 8:19 p.m.
Able to move.
Blackstock support.
All right. All right, we have a motion of support to close the meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.